So this is what I look like 2 days post C-section. Yeah, so so yes, there was still a lot of swelling. I had intense hyperpigmentation, which I was like, where did that come from? I still looked very pregnant. I was stitched up. Mind you, this is the first surgery I've ever done in my life, so this was quite the experience. This is for us moms, a safe space for young women to have real and honest conversations about motherhood. A space for you to feel heard, seen, and understood. And if you're listening, you're absolutely welcome. So because this month is C-section awareness month, we're going to be speaking all about C-sections. So buckle in, because you're going to be hearing a lot of things about my personal experience and just things that I have learned. There are a couple of things I want to talk about just to help the next person who has a C-section or who is preparing to have a C-section, to let you know what to expect. Because mind you, like I said earlier on, this was my first surgery, so it was just me, the nurses, the doctors, my husband, you know, in the hospital at the time, just trying to navigate this whole new thing. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I want you to be prepared for, is the swelling. So you know, when you are pregnant, you are big just because you're growing a child. Especially in your third trimester, you start to notice that, okay, yeah, like this baby is actually growing, and your stomach stretches and all that and all that. But then when you give birth, right, you don't get the fundal massage that you get when you give birth vaginally. So because of that, your stomach is not going to be squishy or anything. It's going to be very hard. You're going to be hard because you're swollen from the whole surgical process. Mind you, to do a C-section, they're cutting through, is it 8 layers or 7 layers of skin, muscle, fat, and all the different layers to get to your child, to just give birth to that child. And they stitch up each layer, right? Each layer has to be stitched up before your final, like the one that you see, which is your skin. So you're very, very swollen. I was swollen in my face, I was swollen in my tummy. Like you can see in that video, I had hyperpigmentation. It was not funny, it was not cute. I did not expect that at all. My nose was swollen. I think my nose was more swollen post C-section than it was before. Maybe I'm just in my head about that, I don't even know. But there was a lot of swelling going on. I had to wear what are they called, compression socks, but that was also because of like blood clotting and all that. But then like the swelling was something I was not prepared for. I didn't know that I would swell post surgery. Again, maybe like this is like common knowledge, but I just didn't know because I'd never had a surgery before, and also this was an emergency situation as well. So yeah, like prepare that there will be some level of swelling. I remember, I think my fingers felt like they were swollen. I was just all over the place, but the swelling was something that I did not anticipate or something that I did not see coming. I just looked like, in my mind, I just felt like I looked like stretched pure water. Like, bro, this swelling, bro. I was, man. Anyway, apart from the swelling, let me talk to you about the incision itself. Props to my surgical team. Just that I don't know anybody. Like I have all their pictures and and I have a video of the whole process and everything. But like my surgical team, they stitched me up like almost like brand new. My stitch is so clean. It's almost invisible, and it's so beautifully done. And I'm not even going to lie, I had seen a couple of pictures online that scared the living daylight out of me, because I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want my stomach to look like that. I don't want my stitches to look like that. Like, no. But then I was so happy with how they did my incision and how they stitched me back. It was so good. They were so professional. Like, honestly, I couldn't be happier with that part of the whole process. So yeah, in the grand scheme of things, aesthetically, that was a good thing. You guys, I remember when they were about to start the surgery, mind you, again, first surgery ever in my life, and I was there alone. Chris couldn't come in at that time, and I think he was also getting scrubbed in. Honestly, the doctor told me that we don't usually allow patients, partners come in at this point because a lot of people faint, a lot of people can't handle it. I was like, my husband can handle it, please let him come inside, please, he can't do it, he's a strong man. So embarrassing. I just felt like at that point I didn't want to be by myself. So anyway, the next thing I heard was, this was after they had given me my anesthesia, of course, and I had calmed down significantly. Next thing I heard was, oh, knife on skin. I said, knife on what? my neck on skin, and then I just started to feel pressure. So you can't feel the pain of what is going on, which is mind blowing when you think about it, because you're awake for a C-section, right? It's crazy that you are actively being torn open, but you cannot feel anything. It is mind blowing. Anyway, so I hear knife on skin, and then the whole process starts. And mind you, while I'm feeling all this movement and everything, I'm just like, hey, God, when someone is going to look like shriveled chicken when they're done. And so when I like came out, and I didn't see my scarf for like months. I didn't look at it. I didn't want to see it because I just was afraid of what I would see. So I asked Chris to look at it for me, and he was like, oh, I can barely see it. So I thought I was whining me because just wanted me to feel better. But no, you can barely see it. So I was very pleased with like how that came out. Now, the next thing I want to tell you that I didn't expect was the numbness. So there's a level of numbness that you feel there. If I'm not a level, I could not feel anything around my scarf for like a year. Yeah, like you could pinch me, you could poke me there, I would barely feel anything. And it was such a strange feeling because that part of my body just, it was like all the cells, they died. I don't even know how to explain it. But like all of that area, that area where my stitch was, it just didn't feel like anything. It just felt numb. And I didn't expect that. And then it makes me think, I'm like, wait, so like if you get a BBL, does that mean that you don't feel your ass afterwards? Like you don't feel that whole area? I don't know. That's such a dumb question. But then like, yeah, I didn't feel anything. It didn't feel like nothing to me. Which, to be honest, for a while I was grateful for, because I'm like, okay, maybe because that area is numb, is why I didn't feel pain post C-section. Oh yeah, so I didn't feel any pain after my C-section. I just felt sore, and then also my medication was quite powerful, so like I never felt the pain of the C-section. If you ask me tomorrow what the pain of C-section feels like, I can't really tell you because like I didn't feel any. But if you ask me about labor, wake me up any day. I'm talking 2 a.m, 3:15, 4 a.m, I can tell you what that labor pain and that labor process is like. But I didn't feel anything like after my C-section, which I'm so grateful for, because that was when my fear was, especially it being an emergency situation. I was like, hey God, like I don't want to have a scary postpartum, like when it comes to recovery from C-section. And then again, it's like knife, like blood, like surgery, operation. So you expect like some level of pain. But yeah, I didn't have any of that, which I'm so grateful for. So apart from the swelling, the incision itself, the numbness and all that, another thing that I felt or experienced 2 days or a couple of days postpartum was I felt like I could feel my organs move. I don't know how to explain it. Like, okay, so this is how it went. So after I was done with C-section, they wheeled me to a room called like a recovery room. This is not where I stayed until I left. It was a separate room. So they watched me for like 24 hours. And the thing about my hospital is that once you have a C-section, you have to be up and working within 24 hours. So she first came and gave me ice she gave me water to drink, and then she came and she checked and she said, oh, how are you feeling and everything. I was like, I feel fine. Then she gave me ice to eat, a cup of ice, and then she's like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I feel fine. And then she's like, okay, it's time to stand up. We have to walk to the bathroom so you can brush your teeth. I'm like, I don't want to brush. And then she's like, I just added the brush your teeth part. You don't actually have to brush your teeth. The point is for you to just stand up and walk. I was afraid. I was so scared. So then, oh yeah, by the way, when she kept coming to check me, she kept checking like, can you lift your legs now? Because I couldn't lift my legs. That's what I know, after the surgery, because obviously I had anesthesia. So she's like, can you lift your legs now? So like gradually I started to lift my legs again. So like by the time she told me to walk, the legs were walking. So then she assisted me, and then she was like, don't worry, it's okay. I'm here. I'm not rushing you. We can do this process for 20 minutes. I don't care. The point is just I need to know that you're okay. So I need you to stand up and move around, because if you don't move around, your skin is going to get tight, like around the incision area. And then apart from that, you just need to get active again. Don't don't just stay in one place because it doesn't even help the healing process. So we're at the bed. I move all the way to the edge of the bed. I'm sitting down, my feet are hanging like at the side of the bed. I'm just telling her, please, I really don't want to stand up. Is there anything else we can do? So just know that I'm okay. She's like, you have to stand up. So eventually we did a countdown. So it was like 3, 2, 1, and then I stood. You guys, when I stood, it felt like I could feel every organ in my body. It felt like all my organs were going to drop out of my body. I was afraid. But then, like, after I had taken like a couple of steps, it wasn't that bad anymore. I was like, okay, you know what? It's never that bad. Maybe I was just being dramatic. And then I finally was able to walk all the way to the bathroom. It took a while. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't like I just stood up and I was like, gym. No, like it was slow and steady paces. But like, I'm so grateful for how patient like my nurse was with me. So slow and steady. We shall finally go to the bathroom. Then I brushed my teeth, I washed my face. And then what I noticed was that walking back to the bed wasn't as hard as walking to the bathroom, right? And so another thing was like when I was sitting on the bed and then I had to like scoot backwards like that, you guys, that was when I first felt like how sore I was. Maybe because of the way I stretched, but my body was super sore. So yeah, the soreness is something to expect if you're going to have a C-section. You will definitely feel sore, but if you ask me, better to feel sore than to feel pain. You know what I mean? Another thing that I just did not see coming. First of all, remember when I told you that I was wearing compression socks? Yeah, so like you wear that for a long time. Yeah, you have to keep wearing your compression socks because it just helps you make sure that there's no blood clotting and like blood is moving the way it's supposed to move in your body. The amount of injections and pain medication that I took after the C-section was crazy. Like it was so much so that I was like numb to injections afterwards. Now, as if that wasn't bad enough. When they were sending me home, they sent me home with injections. I said, who is going to do it? As in, who is going to what? Because you know in the hospital is a different scenario. You're dead because you know that you're supposed to get injection and medication. So when we came back home, Chris had to start giving me injections, you guys, for like 5 days. I think I was on like 5 days. I think they gave me enough of, was it 5 days? And then I was going to come back to the hospital so they could check me again. You guys, see, injection at home was more painful than injection in the hospital, let me tell you. So the injection was just basically to avoid, blood clots and to avoid like, yeah, I think it was majorly for blood clotting. So Chris will come and he will like clean my thigh and give me the injection, you guys. That was quite the experience. Mind you, I got discharged 4 days after my C-section. So expect to feel like your organs are going to fall out of your stomach the first time you stand up, and also expect loads of medication after your C-section. That's something I don't want you to be caught off guard for. The next thing I also want to tell you if you're going to have a C-section is instead of getting pads, get adult diapers. So adult diapers were like such a saving grace for me because unlike pads where you have to take your pants down, wear your pad again, wear your pants, adult diapers, you just tear them from the sides and then take it off. And then they also hold way more blood than regular pads, which is great because then you don't have to stand up to change every time. Remember that also sitting and standing after a C-section is not cute just because of the soreness. It's just not. If you don't have to stand, if you don't have to cough, if you don't have to sneeze, if you don't have to laugh, just avoid it because of just like the general soreness. So yes, with adult diapers, all you have to do is wear it. When it's time to take it off, you don't have to like pull it down and then bend down to change any pad or anything. No, just tear it off on the sides, roll it like a regular pad, put it inside a nylon bag or whatever, and then trash it. So yes, adult diapers over pads when it comes to postpartum. Also remember that I said adult diapers also hold way better than regular pads. So that's another thing I just want to put out there. Then another thing you should expect is that you're going to have a catheter in for like 2 days or 3 days, 2 to 3 days, or I think 2 days. Whenever you get discharged from your recovery room and they take you to your actual bedroom, I think that's when they remove the catheter. So if you don't know what a catheter is, imagine an IV line being put into your urethra, and so it just links directly to your bladder. It's not painful. Once it's in, but then again there's a level of discomfort. So basically you don't pee by yourself after surgery. The catheter just takes all of the pee out of your body. So yeah, that like it's an uncomfortable thing, but it's not necessarily a painful thing. One thing I'm going to tell you for sure is that like this whole C-section period, there's a lot of lack of privacy, and it's very invasive in the sense that like you open your legs, somebody's putting a catheter into your body, of course you're naked in the surgical room. It's just like a lot of there's no privacy. But then yeah, it's just what it is. To bring a baby into this world is not easy, and this is just like the physical part of things. The emotional part of things, I cried a lot after my C-section. I don't know why. I think I was just like, my body was just recovering from like the traumatic experience I had just been through. It was not great. I think if I had prepared, like, oh, for a C-section going in, I would not have been as traumatized. I would not have had to go through as much as I did emotionally. But like, it was quite an emotional roller coaster for me. I don't know if it was emotional for anybody else. If you had like an emergency C-section, did you also experience the same emotions? I don't know, because I can only speak from my own experience. So yeah, it was quite the emotional journey. I cried. Like, I even have a video where Chris was asking me, why are you crying? And I couldn't explain because I didn't know why I was crying. I just felt like I had gone through so much. I felt bad for myself. Yeah. So in conclusion, or I say all this to say that like no one prepares you for meeting your baby for the first time, and also not recognizing yourself or your body as well. It's quite the experience. So my thing would be, if you're a couple of days postpartum from a C-section, just like it's very important that you're gentle with yourself. It's very important that you take the time to heal. Don't rush anything. Just know that you can walk on your tummy post C-section. Don't feel the need to like rush the healing process, because the last thing you want is to have a complex or complicated healing process because, oh, your incision opened or one thing or the other. Like, it's not something you want to go through. So if you're planning to have a C-section, I hope this video has prepared you for what to expect like 2 days afterwards, or like a couple of days after your C-section. So yes, please, above everything else, please be gentle with yourself. It's not easy. You've just gone through a major surgery. I don't know how people say that this is the easier way out. There's nothing easier about having a C-section as opposed to pushing a child out. It's not the easier process at all. But like, thank God for the medical staff and the people who have been equipped to, you know, help women to have their children, whether it's through C-sections or through like vaginal deliveries. But either way, I hope this episode helps you to prepare better. Thank you for listening to For Us Moms. And as always, till next week, Tuesday, be very, very gentle with yourselves. Love you so much. Bye.